Hey, it's me, Tiffany. I hope you're doing well. It's currently raining. I'm sitting outside recording in the rain, although there's a roof over my head, so I'm not going to get wet. I watched the Moon Knight series. I watched the second half of it today. My husband, and it was good. I liked it. TV. I'm going to talk about D&D immediately because Kelvin asked me a question, and they basically wanted to know how to come up with a D&D story, how to come up with lore. I gave advice on sharing the lore, but how do you make it in the first place? And that's a difficult question to answer because the creative process is very personal, and the way one person has ideas is going to be different than the way another person has ideas. So let me start with just some advice. First, every idea you have is good. You are a human being, and you made the idea. That makes it good by nature. So anything you think is cool, it's probably cool. You should follow that. Second, if you aren't feeling, there's an earthworm slithering around, and I'm looking at it. Do you want to look at an earthworm? Oh, can we see the earthworm? There it is. Look at it go. Look at this speedy little guy. It's zooming. Look at it wiggling around there. Got places to be. I hope you can actually see this thing squirming around and I'm not just filming dirt. Worms are cool. Okay, back to D&D. If the ideas aren't coming, you don't have to come up with ideas. Plenty of other people come up with ideas. There's pre-written campaign modules. A lot of them are really good. If you want a first-party one, I really like Curse of Strahd and the Tyranny of Dragons adventure, which is Hoard of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat. I like those. Yeah, there's plenty online. You could just do a pre-written adventure and have a good time. But if you do want to come up with your own stuff, a lot of people take inspiration from fiction, from media. You know, you watch shows you think are cool, and then you just start thinking about what you would do if you were writing that show, and then suddenly you're having ideas. You could look at the monster manual and read about all the monsters in there and think about which monsters are cool and which monsters you think having encounters with would be fun. I like Beholders in particular because they're weird, they're super powerful and super paranoid, and they're weird and they make elaborate layers, and they are super smart but don't necessarily understand things, so they would definitely end up in like a GLaDOS situation where they capture adventurers and like do tests on them, but the tests are just murder. There's a lot of really cool possibilities. You know, dragons are a lot of fun. Dragons have a lot of potential. They have a lot of stuff. They have a lot of influence. Yeah, so you could like look at that. And basically you just want to follow your imagination. Wherever your imagination takes you is probably going to be good. You know? And you also don't need to worry about finishing ideas either. Like, you just need to explain to your players what's happening and have a good enough idea of what's happening yourself to show it to the players, and then the players will start playing with it. That's their job. They're players. They'll start messing with your world and touching things and changing things, and then you just need to react to what they're doing. And that's the back and forth that makes D&D magical, you know. because when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, you're looking into other people's imaginations. You know, the players are looking at a world that the Dungeon Master imagined, and the characters in your world that you are imagining are acting in ways that you cannot predict because they are being controlled by other people. And that's like the miracle of tabletop gaming, and that's why we love it. So think about your favorite shows, your favorite video games. Think about how you would write them if you were the writer. Think about what would happen if the characters did things differently. Also, my favorite level 1 encounter is that a bunch of low-level enemies, such as kobolds, have stolen a bunch of farm animals, and then you need to track them back to their lair and get the farm animals back. I think capturing live animals is a fun adventure. It's a very silly thing to do. You know, it's not just bringing back a bag of gold, but bringing back an entire cow. Especially if the cow's been, like, let into a weird cave full of, like, traps and kobolds and stuff. It's really interesting. There's a lot of fun things you can do. You know, I once had a pig glued to a pressure plate, and then when they removed the pig, it set off the pressure plate and caused a small cave-in. You know, the world's your oyster. Do whatever you want. Follow your imagination. Have a good time. And if your players don't like what you give them other stuff. Let them help make things. You know? You only need as many options as your players will follow. If you want your D&D question answered, post it in the comments. Mwah.